Welcome back to Colosseum, our next destination, Agate Village, which is all the way over here in the one lush green part of the map. Yes, this is the other river in a dry land in this region. Agate Village. Let's go. It's time to meet Misty Jr.'s grandparents, already. And I love this song so much. This is another one of these songs that just stick out in my mind so much when I think of this game. And I'm going to interrupt it with a Pokemon Center. Because, yeah, this is another one of the few places that actually has a Pokemon Center in this region. Oh, hey, there's a cool trainer here. So, it turns out this place is kind of a retirement spot for famous battlers. Maybe I'll end up here someday. Hey, there's a Trico. Sadly, you won't be catching a Trico in this game. And I kind of need to heal after Kale, so yeah, that's why I waited to do it here. I mean, I could have used the healing machines in Pyrite, but kind of wanted to do it here anyway. Don't think I need to stop to the PC either, so let's continue to check out the village. Seems like I went to the other side of the town first. You can see down there, there's a guy blocking a cave. We'll deal with him later. There's an old man over here. Probably should have talked to this guy first. This is kind of an interesting concept for the series. I'm surprised that they hadn't really done anything like this since then. Anyway, that little strip of land there, yeah, there's stuff that I like to do there eventually. Tsundere Torchic! Tsundere Torchic, everyone! Yes, gaze upon the wonder that is Tsundere Torchic. So, we know her grandfather's name now. She must have called him, I guess. Either that or word spreads really fast. But anyway, let's leave the house of Tsundere Torchic. And do I show something? Yeah, there is actually a cave behind here. This one's pretty easy to miss. We can head in here, and inside, there's some items. There's a bit more to do here in XD, but for now, we get a Silk Scarf, and what else? 2 Ultra Balls, that's pretty nice. We should probably be switching to Ultra Balls when it comes to snagging Pokemon pretty soon, especially considering something that comes up a bit later. I still like this music. And the concept of this town is pretty cool too, just a whole town built into this giant tree. Guess it's kind of similar to Four Tree City, but also different in a way. Anyway, there's a Wobbuffet here. Oh yeah, this Wobbuffet plays a really big role in a side quest in XD, I remember. But for now, we're not really going to be able to do very much with it. Yes, a friend. Well, that's kind of ironic, considering also about Wobbuffet saying its Japanese name. Kind of ironic seeing as this friend used to be in a criminal gang, but he's reformed now. Hey, so the news is changing to affect this. Thankfully, their identities are not made public. Otherwise, given how omnipresent Cypher is in this region, it would probably be a bad thing to, yeah, publicize identities. And this shop over here. Well, first we battle this guy. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Okay, what are the skills you've honed over all these years? Now, if you're a scoff, that's kind of funny. This arena looks pretty cool, though. So, you've lived this long and you still only have level 35 unevolved Pokemon. And you were considered a great trainer. Why exactly? He's probably going easy on us. This is probably just a team that he shows to the young'uns. I mean, they're actually considerably higher level than most things we have, but sadly, High Jump Kick is not going to be super effective against that C-Dot. I wonder why. I think I used Shadow Rush to avoid the potential miss damage, because High Jump Kick with same type attack bonus would definitely be doing more. But yeah, that Marchop just got one-shotted. Once again, this guy is showing how great of a trainer he is. The Forret's a little better. Of course, that's the worst thing possible to be setting out against my Metatite here. So, actually, maybe he's not such a great trainer. growth animation is pretty funny. Growth only raises special attack in this gen, not both attack and special attack. It was kind of a cool buff in... Also, I believe in later generations it was buffed to double its boost in the sun. I forget when that started exactly. Also, I haven't really used Espeon for a while. I probably should be using him a lot more than this. Cuts! Oh, okay, you still have the HM moves that you... That did more damage than I thought it would do, though. But yeah, you still have terrible HM moves. Maybe you weren't aware there was a move deleter? But yeah, super effective high jump kick from a Meditite is gonna hurt a lot. Goodbye, Furret. That's like, what, the third or fourth Furret we've seen so far? Well, I mean, I guess this region is based on Johto Pokemon for the most part. So it makes sense that one of the more common Johto Pokemon would be, and you give out a lot of money, surprisingly. More than most of the trainers in Mirror B's employ. Yeah... Don't know if the Shadow Pokemon are particularly well known around these parts, but he can sense that something is wrong. Now, this shop actually sells some pretty unique things. I forget exactly when Phoenix Stadium opens for challenges. I think it's probably around now. It's not that difficult to do the battles there, so... And you get some pretty nice... Also, that guy said something significant. But you get some pretty nice rewards. Anyway, I think this shop sells a couple of unique things here that you can't get anywhere else. Hyper Potions are nice but kind of overkill, although we could have got those back in Pyrite. And we can also buy vitamins, which are decent. Okay, yeah, these things. Joy Scent, Excite Scent, and Vivid Scent. These are not in any other Pokemon game. If you give these to a Shadow Pokemon, and we can't use them because we don't have a Cologne case, we'll have to find someone who has one. It's the Pokeblock case all over again. For some bizarre, well, not bizarre reason, I'm not really one to question what people do and don't have problems with in Pokemon games, but I found that back in the day, there were so many people who kept writing into walkthrough magazines saying, where do I get the Pokeblock case in Ruby and Sapphire? I always thought it was really obvious, but then again, whenever I play a Pokemon game, I always tend to talk to everyone whenever I go into a new place, so... You find it inside Slateport City by talking to one of the people in the contest hall, by the way, but yeah. The reason I think why people are asking is I think you're banned from entering contests unless you have one. But anyway... Let's see what happens if we check down here. There's actually quite a few secrets to Agate Village. I showed the cave earlier, but there's a few more. And it turns out there's a sacred forest in here, Celebi apparently. That sounds like something interesting. Now, there is something for us down there, but I probably get it later. Like I said, there are a lot of secrets to this place. And that item right there next to that waterfall. That item. Also, first, let's talk to this lady. Because she's disturbing. Well, she's also shipping us. Nope! Nope! I'm done! I'm done! That's it! I'm done! I'm leaving this town now! I'm leaving this town! I don't want to know what goes on here! Running away! Run! Run away! Run away! Yeah, let's just, let's avoid you and pretend that ever happened. We don't want no Sonic 06 here! And also, apparently there's a daycare. Yeah, let's just take our minds off of that horrifying moment from earlier. Yeah. I don't know what possessed the writers to put that into this game. I really don't know. And I'm, frankly, very disturbed, but it is a line that exists in the dialogue. Oh, hey, there's a name raider. However, there's an issue with this guy. He doesn't actually let you name Shadow Pokemon. I'm not sure if I show it off here, but I think I do end up renaming Espeon and Umbreon at this point, because I figured, you know, they're out... Oh yeah, so this is what happens if you select a Shadow Pokemon. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing as trying to rename a traded Pokemon. It won't work. But do I rename Espeon and Umbreon at this point? I know I do at some point. I felt like, you know, they're going to be with us for the whole journey, so they may as well have unique nicknames. Though I guess it's kind of weird that the protagonist hasn't nicknamed them for so long, and you never really have an opportunity to nickname them at the start of the game. And I go for some very, very unoriginal names here. So, Espeon is not going to be with a lowercase s. Espeon is going to be... Oh yeah, I just figuring out how to use the X button to do upper and lowercase. I like to do Gen 3 names in all uppercase because that's what all Pokemon names are in this one. I'm going to name Espeon Sol. Yeah, I know, these are very, very unoriginal and uncreative, and you're all probably booing me for doing this. Also, by the way, that, comment about luckiness. Apparently, this guy in Japanese, his not like he has a nickname himself, but no, his name refers to, like, divination based on names, which is kind of interesting. But yes, I'm going to give my Umbreon the very, very, very unoriginal nickname of Luna. Well, I guess this is a Fire Emblem reference for the most part, but, yeah, I'm so sorry, people. I could have come up with much better names, but for now, we have Sol and Luna. Anyway, I didn't even show what the main feature of this place is. That's the daycare, by the way. You can't breed in this game's daycare, but if you leave a Shadow Pokemon there, it will gradually be purified. Also, since you can't grow berries in this game, this is how you get infinite renewable berries. Oh, hey, Wiki Berry, a berry that ended up being much more useful in later generations, specifically Gen 7. So yeah, I'm not sure how the game calculates days, though. I forget if... I know the GameCube did have a clock, but I don't know if it had a day system. But anyway, that guy periodically does get extra berries, so since you can't grow berries in this region, that's the only way to get them. And here's a jerkish thing that I think did I show it here, or did I not? Why am I looking at the P-Star DA? I forget if I showed something here or not. Oh, for some reason I'm showing the snag list. This shows all of the Shadow Pokemon that we've caught so far, and the Pokeball still being purple means they're still Shadows. And you get to see which snags you've got that succeeded and which failed. This doesn't really give many hints as to where the failed snags can be refought, though, which is kind of unfortunate. They did that a lot better in XD. Which is why I've been resetting every time I fail to snag a Shadow Pokemon. So that's basically the snag list. And we don't have an email yet. Kinda surprised we haven't at this point in the game. Anyway, what am I actually doing now? I'm going into this house. Or not. I'm confused. I guess maybe I just remembered... Oh, okay, now I'm pointing this out. So, see that chest down there? I think I'm going to go and get it. I missed this for the longest time my first playthrough, but how to get there, it's a big guide, dang it. You actually have to go behind this tree, this literal tree house right now. Go behind there, down here, and now you can get this item. And this item is the Experience Share. Not nearly as broken as it is in Generations 6 and 7, but it's still a very, very useful item. And it's one that you'll be missing if you don't know this huge guide, dang it, go behind the house path. So... this really annoyed me when I first played this game. Really, really annoyed me. But anyway, we can finally enter this house. Oh, look, it's a childhood friend. Do we have a threat in this case? Yeah, let's go and see her grandfather. And she runs up to them immediately. So it's Egan and Baloo? Not really sure how her name is supposed to be pronounced, but anyway. This is Misty Jr.'s grandfather and grandmother. The grandfather has some things that should be kind of familiar, though. Yeah, now, if you're telling your grandparents you were abducted, that would probably really freak them out. But thankfully, we were able to save her. Do these two know about them at this point? No, evidently they don't. So, well, before we can get an exposition break, we've got trouble. Well, Egan's already going Leroy Jenkins with his gigantic robe. Yeah, I'm kind of worried that he's running off on his own. We also get this music that I don't think plays anywhere else in the game. But if we go upstairs, it immediately cuts out. So, this is a I don't know if this used to be her room or if it's now their room. It's probably now their room, seeing as there are no beds down here. And Misty Jr. was about to go up into that room. But anyway, we should hurry and see if her grandfather is okay. Our battling prowess are probably required at this point. So, let's go and help. Misty Jr., what are you doing? And I like how NPCs are actually commenting on events that are happening. Anyway, you want to make sure that you're healed and fully prepared before you go in, and it's probably not a bad idea to save first either. So that's probably what I'll be doing. Actually not, because past me decided not to save then. Three, two, one, go. Okay, so let's hurry, even though we already wasted time going back and going into the Pokemon Center. But anyway, we have a cave here, and immediately we're greeted by Cypher members, so it's time to face off against them. Wow, you healed your Pokemon pretty quickly. Guess you had a stock of revives. So you lost to that guy. Later on, it's going to be kind of hilarious that she did. But first, let's see what she has. Actually, with the Pokemon she has, it's kind of obvious why she lost to that guy. Again, this mysteriousness will go away later once we actually see what he has. But anyway, that side is actually getting close to purification, which is good. Spheal and Kavana, yeah, probably can get rid of these. Don't use Confusion on Kavana, you almost idiot past me. I don't think I really even need to use High Jump Kick here. Kavana's defense is just, well, both of its defenses are just so terrible that... Like, apparently I think it's tied with Deoxy's attack for, like, the lowest special defense stat in the game or something, or one of them. Like, Kavana just faints to any kind of light breeze. Though I really wish you did get a Shadow one in this game, because I like Sharpedo quite a lot as a Pokemon, but... I mean, just because there's something just really cool about sharks, and especially a Dark-type shark that is also a torpedo. But anyway, this Spheal probably shouldn't last long, so yeah, I'm just going ahead and doing this. Well, actually, wait, no, I'm using High Jump Kick. Probably, if I was doing this more, I guess, logically, I'd probably use something else just because I don't want to risk potentially missing. But it didn't matter because I knocked out anyway. Spheal is also another Pokemon that I like. Actually, there are quite a few water types in Gen 2 that I like. Well, actually, mainly it's just Swampert, Walrein, and Sharpedo. Ouchies. That's all you have to say. Also, that name makes me think of Skyrim for some reason. So, that was quick. Next. Well, the one villager I battled wasn't all that strong, but I like how we actually get to see a run. It's not like certain evil team members in some games where the screen just fades out and they disappear. I haven't actually tried out Sudowoodo yet, so might as well. Unfortunately, Sudowoodo's not going to be that great without Rock Slide. Oh, I think I am. Silton. I mean, that name's not that weird, but I guess it's kind of weird. Okay, you've got all grass types. Now, you, I can see Egan having a problem with. I've seen quite a few Cacneas so far. Just had a discussion with someone in the comments at one point, but I was just thinking it would be kind of cool to have a grass-type specializing evil team, although I get the feeling they would use Cacturn a lot because it's grass-dark, and evil teams tend to love dark types regardless of what their actual specialty is meant to be. Yeah, Team Magma and Team Aqua were kind of I think in the remakes, Team Aqua uses more things like or was it in Emerald? I know that in one of them they use more things like Whalers, and then Team Magma would sometimes use Torkoal, but for the most part they only use Numel and Kavana. And I mean, Team Flare use some fire types, but not a lot. They really would only use Houndour, and basically, yeah, they would mostly use poison types otherwise. I still like Sudowoodo's animation there. Not really sure Sudowoodo, well, that thing wasted its turn headbutting Nethertite, so Sudowoodo didn't get hit by a grass move. Anyway, bringing out Noctowl, and Noctowl's getting fairly close to purification as well, which is good. Yeah, that's not gonna end well for you. Let's just finish this off quickly. Goodbye, Shroomish. There we go. Sudowoodo's actually fairly strong for this point in the game. I can kind of make do with this just Shadow Rush, and with it in hyper mode, I'd probably be doing quite a lot of damage. Shroomitter has another kind of depressing fainting animation. We haven't seen Miss Reefus' fainting animation yet. It's actually kind of... that's a great line. Yeah, the trainer with Block back in Pyrite Cave had more success there. But, yeah, Miss Reefus' fainting animation is kind of... actually slightly disturbing. Okay, so through here is the end of this cave and the Relic Forest. We want to make sure that we're prepared before we go through, which is why I might go back to heal. Okay, so now let's go through here. I forgot all about you! Maybe I have to go back and heal again. So, Cypher Peons are kind of a meme in the community for their tendency to do that. This is our first instance of seeing that, but they get really bad with this later on. Well, there's a certain Cypher Peon in XD who's infamous. I probably shouldn't spoil them in case I do a playthrough of that game eventually. Oh, okay, well, that's gonna be useless. If that was Gen 5 Sturdy, that would have actually been really irritating, but unfortunately, well, fortunately for me, it's not. I do have Fly, which will probably be doing more than Shadow Rush, but not that much because Knockdown only has 50 base attack stat. But yeah, I completely forgot about this trainer, so I might end up having to go back to heal again. Yeah, Cosmic Power. Cosmic Power is always kind of annoying unless you get lucky with critical hits. Carmine, you're both buffing your defensive stats, though Ralts is also buffing its attacking stat. Now, what was I saying before about Shadow Rush and Hyper Mode? Although I might end up just calling. Yeah, I end up calling. I don't know why I bothered with Reflect against Psychic types, though. I'm kind of dumb for that. And that call didn't do much, but Sudowoodo has a pretty high heart gauge in general, so it's fine. And Ralts has very low defense in general, so Knockdown's low attack is fine. Another Cosmic Power. Yeah, I don't have any water types with me, do I? Okay, who are you hitting with this? That's Carmine boost, and that was Carmine boosted. Although, oh, of course you would get the confusion. Yeah, Ralts, if I'm remembering right, does not have very good stats overall. It's stuck with just Growl for a really long time, but other than that... Oh, hey, I do have a Grass type. And I do have a Meta type who's probably not going to do very much. Luna might do okay here. Being a Dark type, I'll at least be immune to the vast majority of attacks that will be used against me, so that's good. And you have 3 Pokemon as opposed to the 2 that your comrades had. But that is probably Routes gone. Yeah, I targeted the Routes. I was wondering whether I did or not. Routes also has a kind of depressing fainting animation. Now, a lot of Pokemon do, actually. Oh, Curlier. I was just thinking about Curlier then. I was thinking, Curlier's is also kind of depressing. But you have a Curlier. I mean, at this level, it really should be a Gardevoir by now. You know, I always thought back in the day when I first played Ruby and Sapphire that reaching Gardevoir by level 30 was surprisingly low to be reaching such a strong final form by. Like, it made them very good Pokemon to use in-game, especially since you got it so early, but it was kind of rare earlier on. I remember back in, like, when I first played Ruby and Sapphire, it was rumored that Ralts' likeliness of appearing was based on how happy your starter was with you. Obviously, that's not true, because there's no way they'd be able to code something that specific. I think it's just, like, kind of rare-ish in the early game routes. I think people just made that up to justify why it was, because I remember I found Ralts fairly quickly when I first played, but I also thought that Gardevoir's... in my defense, I was terrible at French, but I did think that Gardevoir's name was pronounced Grativoyer. And this is going to be really annoying. You've just set up, I think, 3 Cosmic Powers by now. Well, let's make sure you can't set up... Well, nope, I missed. It'd be funny if you had Self-Destruct and ended this fight for me. Well, you're at least smart enough not to use that on Umbreon. But Knockdown is a pretty good special tank. You're going to get the confused... No, you're not, okay. If only I'd led with Umbreon, then I could have taunted this thing. Always annoying when trainers like this just prolong fights by buffing their defense like this and not really doing much damage to you. Okay, well, there's a lucky critical. That's the downfall of stat boosting moves. It's part of why, as annoying as Cosmic Power is to face, you don't see it used that often in competitive play. For that reason alone, getting a single critical hit just really ruins that. I don't think there are any Pokemon with Shell Armor that learn it. Or Battle Armor. But yeah, the majority of defensive moves that you see used in competitive play are ones that also boost another stat. Simply because, yeah, it's very easy to just have all of your boosting work be for nothing if they get lucky and get a critical. Oh, okay, I'm reorganizing my items to put the healing ones at the top of the list. That's kind of smart of me. There's no auto-organize option in this game, I think. Now, I could have just gone back and healed, but past me decided that he'd stalled the video long enough and didn't want to cut it anymore. So, we're here in the Relic Forest, and we have the normal Cypher theme, so, someone's in trouble. Well, mythical trainer, you say. We'll see what that's like when we actually, see him in action. We've got a Cypher peon who's dressed a bit differently than normal. Yeah, Cypher has no qualms about hurting senior citizens, because they're evil! So once Egan was hailed as the most powerful trainer, and he has a comrade that he's been with his whole life, the first Pokemon he ever got. And it's a Pikachu! Huh, I wonder who that's supposed to be referencing. So, this is really interesting. For one of the rare times in the Pokemon series, we actually get to see a fight play out between an NPC and another NPC. I think this is kind of cool, I like it, and, well, it's a level 50 Pikachu at least. And he has his own unique trainer class too, Myth Trainer. Unfortunately, this Pikachu doesn't have that good moves, and I'm not really sure that it's using Light Ball. I think in this generation, Light Ball only boosted, also, we couldn't tell this was a Shadow Pokemon, but, it's a Shadow, according to its, move there in its, picture. And Static. I don't think that's scripted. I think that's actually a random thing that can happen. So, that's kind of amusing. But obviously, just a Pikachu, not going to do well against a powerful Pokemon like Hitmontop, I'm sorry. I was saying before that I think Light Ball only boosted Special Attack in this generation, not Attack, so Pikachu wouldn't have been doing much with Quick Attack anyway. And that was the only Pokemon that you brought, so I guess you are taking after the person you're inspired by, and not bringing your full team to significant battles. Thankfully, the cavalry has arrived. Yes, bigger! Pikachu has failed. Again. Please tell me you're not saying that to Missy Jr. Anyway! Cypher Peon Scrub. We're actually battling him this time. And he was actually holding back against Egan. He is now using his full team here. Geodude and Clamperl. Now, we already know he has a Shadow Hitmontop, so we better be ready for that. But for now, let's fight off against... Not sure whether I wanted to say face-off, and then I said fight, and then it merged, but anyway. Let's, fight off against, this guy's Pokemon. First, though, let's take out this, I think this Geodude may have a better moveset than the other one we fought, I'm not sure. Clamperl is an interesting Pokemon. It has very high defenses, and it has an item that doubles its special attack. Clamperl is actually one of the few, like, lowest stage Pokemon that's actually viable in serious battles, mainly under Trick Room and with a Deep Sea Tooth. Also, yeah, Deep Sea Tooth is banned in Little Cup for a reason. It makes Clamperl way too strong. And that was really, really stupid. Why did I have Sudowoodo out against that? Well, I guess I can send in something more suited for the job now. Who do I end up sending in? I get the feeling that I wanted to save Skiploom for the Hitmontop. So, who am I sending? Sol, okay. Well, I guess you'll do well against that Geodude by virtue of hitting its weaker defensive stat. And yeah, you're a Geodude who's not afraid to use Rock Throw. Also, why am I... Like, I'm pretty sure I didn't know Scrub's exact team when I went into this, but why did I keep Knockdown out against the Geodude, and why did I keep Sudowoodo out against a Water type? I have no idea, and I frankly don't want to know why I was this dumb. For some reason I'm switching out to... I probably would have gone to Meta-type myself, but here I'm going to Umbreon. But yeah, Clamperl is kind of an interesting Pokemon. And I guess while not as much is happening, and there's not that much for me to explain here, I can talk about Egan for a bit. So yeah, Egan is a legendary trainer who has a Pikachu that's been his life companion. Now, if you have Rock Head, that's a good move for you, but if you don't, this could potentially KO yourself. Oh, you do have Rock Head. That's annoying. Wait a minute, you have Double Edge only level 36? Is that even possible in this gen? I'm not sure. Because the move tuner wasn't introduced until at least Fire Red and Leaf Green. But anyway, so that guy is probably based off of Ash from the Pokemon anime. And here's the interesting thing. His granddaughter bears a striking resemblance to Misty, which is also probably a reference. So this makes me happy because back in the day, I was a pretty big Poke shipper, which for those who don't know is Ash and Misty shipping. I mean, I will admit that I can pretty much accept that Ash and Serena is kinda canon now, or at least as canon as you can get with Ash as oblivious as he is. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm fine with that. I mean, well, actually, Misty did show up in the, in a recent Sun and Moon part of the, well, recent as of this video, but part of the Sun and Moon anime that came out, which is interesting. But yeah, I'm pretty sure all hints of shipping between them are pretty much gone at this point, but, back in the day, I used to ship those two quite a lot, so this reference makes me happy. Oh, why not? Why not in Generation 3 was actually banned to Ubers by Smogon. Yeah, a not fully evolved Pokemon banned to Ubers. That is pretty weird. But it's not actually that weird if you know how powerful it is. Basically, its ability blocks you from switching, which in a double battle affects both of us. I think I demonstrate that here. Yeah, why not Shadow Tag prevents us from switching out. So, we're locked in, and I can't send in my Sleep User against this Hitmontop. I want to get that Why Not off the field as soon as possible. Now, it might seem like a bit of a... Oh, I went for Return Not Confusion. Yeah. Hitmontop has pretty good special defense, and regular defense as well. And thanks to its Intimidate ability, it's very bulky defense-wise. And having Umbreon locked in against Hitmontop is also not a good idea. I want to get rid of that Why Not. I really should be focusing on getting rid of that Why Not, but, I guess what I was thinking at this point is, if I don't attack that Wynaut, it's harmless. Wynaut and Wobbuffet's only method of doing damage is by counter moves, and provided that you predict certain, like, what they're going to use, you can completely devastate anything that you send out against you. Also, the fact that you can't switch out means that, there's no safe switch-ins to Wynaut and Wobbuffet. That's part of the reason why they ended up getting banned. Unless something gets KO'd, then you do get a free switch. But you can't safely switch into it because you get trapped, so at worst, if the opponent has something that is looking like they're threatening Wobbuffet or Wynaut, you can just switch out, get a free switch out to anything that counters them. It's part of why they were considered so good. Back in Generation 2, Wobbuffet and Wynaut didn't exist, so it was just Wobbuffet. But Wobbuffet was considered not particularly strong, because also each successive hit, a triple kick gets stronger and stronger. But Umbreon's Reflect helped to survive there. But yeah, because it didn't have the Shadow Tag ability, you could just freely switch out of it. It wasn't really that big of an issue to deal with, because as long as you didn't directly attack it, it was harmless. But here, because you're completely locked in the moment that one of them is on the field, they can also use Tickle to debuff you to the point where they can send in something they can just freely set up. Or they can use Encore, which I believe Wynaut gets, and Wobbuffet doesn't, so it has to go through Wynaut to get that. But they can use Encore to lock you into a non-attacking move, and you can't even switch out of that, so they also get a free switch and set up. Basically, Wobbuffet and Wynaut, it was mainly their ability that just wrecked things. Ironically, it wasn't their kind of trademarked ability to use Counter and Mirror Coat that made them so powerful. It was Shadow Tag and the fact they could just Shadow Tag Encore you, and then just set up freely whatever they want. But anyway, I'm going to go for the Ultra Balls here against the Hitmontop, because I really, really want to try and snag it. This thing is quite powerful. If we fail to snag Hitmontop here, you do get another chance in a little while, but... One. Nope. What I meant was, it's not like you don't have another chance until the post-game. It's before the post-game that you rematch this guy, but... and I don't want to spoil this, but it is in fact a forced rematch, so you'll always have another chance if you don't get Hitmontop now. But I like to get it now, just to be sure. But it's not completely the end of the world if you miss it here. I think I actually did miss Hitmontop here on my first playthrough. But anyway, been going on a whole bunch of topics here because of things like why not getting banned and the Ash Misty connection. Hitmontop. 1. Nope. It is a pretty tricky Pokemon to catch. I think in my first playthrough I actually outright just gave up on snagging this Hitmontop. Now, has Reflect already worn off, or is it going to wear off soon? But yeah, as always, if you ignore Why Not, it can't do anything. And there's Reflect wearing off. So in a double battle, I guess Why Not and Wobbuffet aren't quite as good because you can just ignore them, but they can still Encore you and they still lock in both opponents in double battle, but you can easily... Yeah, Umbreon's gone, I'm so sorry, Luna. You can very easily... don't know what happened to the video feed there, but you can very easily just double target them and avoid the risk of... I'm losing a lot of my team here. I should probably start getting worried now. But yeah, you can easily avoid the risk of counter if you just take them out quickly with double targeting. I mean, there are probably people who can do a much better job of explaining why Wobbuffet and Why Not got banned in Generation 3 than I can. But that was kind of the idea. But yeah, this Why Not is now making... Don't know why I did that. I guess it was my best option at this point. Very, very weird tangent, but this Why Not is now reminding me of the film The Iron Giant and the fact that this thing is harmless if you don't attack it, but if you do attack it, you are going to get destroyed. 1, 2... Nope. I was thinking for a second that after all those Ultra Balls failing, a Great Ball might have done it, but no. Always funny when that kind of thing happens. Well, I guess this will make you easier to put back to sleep if you do wake up, but, I mean, Skiploom's gonna be... Well, actually, Skiploom might not be faster than you. You're level 38, have a not terrible speed stat. Yeah, maybe that Cotton Spore is useful. Now I think about it, I'm not sure if there's any shipping involving the Sun Moon anime, because I know that in pretty much every series, Ash gets shipped with whichever female companion is present. 1, nope. But don't really know if there's any shipping in the Sun Moon anime at all. I know that the Gen 5 anime, there didn't seem to be much shipping between Ash and Iris. It was kind of there, but most people seem to ship her with Silent. If they weren't shipping Silent with Burgundy, which I find kind of weird because doesn't she absolutely hate him for... Anyway, I haven't watched that anime, so I can't really say, but I always find ships between characters who canonically are rivals or hate each other to be a bit weird. Anyway, though. 1. No! Yeah, this is a pretty difficult snag. At least I have a secondary Reflect user. And at least that Why Not is not doing anything. See, like, if it had Tickle or even Encore, it could actually be a threat. But, and speaking of threats, ow. Thankfully, NPC Shadow Pokemon can't go into Hyper Mode, because that would be pretty terrifying if they could use that against you. And this is bad. I need to catch that thing really, really quickly. This battle is getting pretty close. But at least I can put it back to sleep again, hopefully. I shouldn't say this, but Sleep Powder hasn't missed in a while. I might have been just briefly considering the old, after all those balls failing, a Pokeball corded trick, but... Anyway. 1. Nope! Well, it's back asleep. I can't believe I'm having trouble with Hitmontop of all things when the next Shadow Pokemon that we encounter is one that has a really, really low catch rate. And that's the one that I probably should be having trouble with, but no, I'm having more trouble with the Hitmontop. Guess I'd try and weaken it a little bit more. And, of course, using Meditite's turn to get another ball thrown. Speaking of which, the other Shadow Pokemon that I need to catch next, I'm going to need to really restock my items for, because that one's probably going to take a while. 1, 2, 3... Hitmontop gets! Hitmontop is a very unusual Pokemon in that it's a defensive fighting type. It has a decent base 95 attack stat, but in this game, Medicham and Hariyama both outclass it as offensive fighting types, so if you want one of those, don't use Hitmontop. Hitmontop's niche is its very good defensive stats, but especially its Intimidate ability. In fact, Intimidate is so good in doubles that Hitmontop is worth using for that alone. Upon being sent out, Hitmontop will lower the attack of both opposing Pokemon. So if you're fighting a physical heavy opponent, which the next major boss just happens to be, hint hint, you can cripple them pretty badly with minimal effort. Hitmontop's main weakness in this game, though, is that its move pool is not very good in Gen 3. You're stuck with either the unreliable Triple Kick or Brick Break from a TM as your main fighting stab. And Hitmontop really doesn't learn much in the way of decent moves besides that. Rapid Spin is kind of useless in the main story because very few opponents use spikes. Hitmontop did have better options for fighting moves like Mach Punch and High Jump Kick in Generation 3, but they were exclusive to breeding, so this Hitmontop doesn't have access to them. It also wasn't until later generations that Hitmontop gained its now famous, amazing Double Battle support move pool. Moves like Quick Guard, Wide Guard, even Fake Out, it didn't get in Gen 3. So it's not as good of a Pokemon here as it was in later generations, but like I said, Intimidate alone might make Hitmontop worth using. Now we just have the Uber thing of brokenness to deal with. And it's level 37 and has a lot of HP for a not fully evolved Pokemon, and that's bad. The good news is, if you only do a tiny amount of damage to it, then you're not going to be taking much damage in return. There's actually a Battle CD and XD based around, quote-unquote, counter... Why am I using Calm Mind? My only special move is not very effective against... Why am I using Calm Mind? Oh, right. Okay, no, that's what I was doing. I was not attacking it to avoid the risk of a counter, and instead putting it to sleep so that it can't use its counter moves on me. That's what I'm doing. Also, why not sleep with its eyes looking completely the same? I guess while we're here, trivia about why not is that, they really should have localized Wobbuffet's name better, because in Japanese, Wobbuffet's name is Sornansu, which basically means that's right, which caused an untranslatable, well, not untranslatable, but it caused something in the Team Rocket motto to get lost in translation. Whenever Wobbuffet pops up at the end of their motto and says Sornansu, or, well, Wobbuffet in English, it's actually supposed to be saying that's right, because, you know, the joke is that's how their motto ends. So, they really should have translated Wobbuffet's name as something like that's right, like something like that. Because also the joke with Wynord is that if you take its name and Wobbuffet's name, then you get an endlessly repeating conversation, because Wynord's Japanese name is Sornanor, which is that so? So, is that so? That's right. Is that so? It keeps going on like that. It also caused a loss in translation in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, because in that game, Wobbuffet is the only Pokemon that still says its own name instead of talking. Except actually it doesn't. Every time Wobbuffet's talking, it's supposed to be saying that's right. They fixed that in the Explorers games, but then it doesn't make sense because that's right is no longer a joke because it's no longer its name. Anyway though, so, back to the story. Scrub had instructions to capture Celebi and destroy the Relic Stone, and he's going to report to Dakim, who's gone to Mount Battle. Well, thanks for telling us where your superior is. And thankfully, Misty Jr.'s grandfather is okay. Yeah, he kind of got wrecked by that Hitmontop there. Then again, I kind of got wrecked by that Hitmontop there. Well, I kind of doubt that, but anyway. We're just going to ignore that shiny file on the ground. No, the file! Ah! I hate it when games do that, when they warp you out of an area when there's an item there right in front of your face. It happens surprisingly often in Kingdom Hearts. So, why would they want to do that? There must be a connection to the Shadow... And that's exactly what he said. So that seems like something that we should be investigating. Oh, sorry to disappoint you, I don't know anything. Oh, maybe he does know something. See, obviously, you know, they're different characters. Baloo is not Misty, probably. And I don't like insinuating that the game and the anime take place in the same universe, because they clearly don't. As much as that line from Steven in Horus kind of, makes it seem like it. But anyway, he just gave us a new lead, that there's somebody in Mount Battle with information about Celebi. Yeah, so actually it turns out there's someone else in this village with information about Celebi, so... Celior is the guy with the Wobbuffet. This guy's name, I just realized this guy's name is a pun on senile. Your parents were jerks. Okay, so it's kind of like a Patronus charm then? But wait, if it lets Pokemon remember their happiest memories, that could be the... Yeah, let's hear more. That could be the key to curing this shadow epidemic. But we need a time flute to meet Celebi directly. Okay, well that's good to know. That sounds like exactly the kind of thing that we want to do. And that's all the info we'll be getting for now. But it's definitely, enough info, and I think he says the exact same thing if you talk to him again. And if you say no, he calls you a wormhole, that's pretty funny. Anyway, I guess we should go back to, Egan and Baloo to tell them this information. There's nothing down there. I know there's one item that I haven't got, yet in this area. Is there anything we can do in here now? Oh, we just heard of that place. That's where that guy said that his boss had went to. So we can... I would highly hesitate to call the trainers there outstanding. It's more like 60 terrible ones and 40 somewhat decent ones. Yeah, I'll get into that later, but that is our next destination for now, so that's all we need to worry about. Well, he kind of got destroyed horribly, but let's not tell him that. Now, at this point, I think you're supposed to go back to Egan and tell him about what happened. Because I know there's something that I end up doing before we go to Mount Battle. Something very, very, very important. And yeah, Egan totally has strong Pokemon. Yeah. Guess I can quickly check out the Shadow Hitmontop we have. It comes with a black belt, which is pretty nice. And it's actually one of the strongest Shadow Pokemon we have access to at this point in the game, so putting it in your party is not a bad idea, especially for Intimidate. Intimidate is great in doubles. But for some reason, do I end up putting it in my party? I'm not sure. Very soon, though, we'll be seeing some major party shuffling. Because there's something that we'll be able to do very, very soon. See all these Pokemon in the done/almost done box? Yeah, let's just put you in the not even close to done box. Okay, you're not quite done. You're done. You're done. Not quite done. And, almost. So, we've got a few that aren't quite there yet. For now, though, I'm going to put some Pokemon in my party who are definitely ready. And that will be the first 2 Shadow Pokemon that I ever got.